It's 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Recently, every week around this time, I start to get a headache. All thanks to her. The doorbell rings punctually, again, today. I can only watch as my husband happily goes to open the door. I'm home! Just kidding. We're like newlyweds, huh? You're late! Come in! Hey! Tea! You're so unhelpful. My husband, supporting the woman's shoulder, jeers at me. My precious weekend is always consumed by them. My name is Karen, a 24-year-old working housewife. I work in a general position during weekdays. My husband Mike and his childhood friend Lisa are the same age as me, 24. They grew up in the same town and reconnected at a reunion 6 months ago. It's clear from his photo albums that they grew up like siblings. What lingers between them is not romance. I can sense that from their interaction. The issue is, Lisa clearly harbors hostility towards me. The story goes back to their student days. Mike liked Lisa since they were children. However, despite his constant attempts, his feelings never bore fruit, and he met me in college. As we took the same classes and started to interact more, Mike naturally distanced himself from Lisa. Then one day, Lisa came to us with a man by her side. She looked at me smugly before saying this to Mike with upturned eyes. "We're getting married! I'm sorry, Mike, I couldn't reciprocate your feelings." Her insinuation, as if Mike had settled for me because he couldn't have Lisa, rubbed me the wrong way. However, I decided it wouldn't do any good to make a scene, so I kept quiet. Mike, by the way, can be quite clueless. Even then, that hadn't changed, and he cheerfully told Lisa, "Really? Congratulations! Actually, we're planning to get married after graduation too." Lisa, with her mouth agape, was taken aback by Mike, who didn't even show a hint of sadness. In a way, her reaction was justified. A guy who had always been fond of her suddenly started dating another woman as soon as he entered college, not even giving her a second glance. Moreover, when I declared that I was getting married, it didn't affect Mike at all. From Lisa's perspective, she probably wanted to hear words like, "I still love you," or "Please don't get married," from Mike. Even if there's no romantic feelings involved, it still hurts a woman's pride. Huh? Don't you have anything else to say? To Lisa's query, Mike responded without any sense of shame. Huh? Something to say? Right! Karen! She's an incredible cook. I've never tasted anything as good as the meals Karen makes. And she's super kind, and she even helps me with my studies. While Lisa glared at me, her fiancé looked back with a puzzled face. I couldn't stand the atmosphere in the room, so I tried to smooth things over. Congratulations on your marriage! I'm glad you both seem so happy. I'll be going now. After saying this hurriedly, I took Mike and escaped. At that time, I thought I had handled the situation well, but to Lisa, my attitude was nothing but a declaration of victory. Ever since then, Lisa had been giving me petty nuisances. Even 2 years after graduation, every time Lisa came to our house for a visit, she started throwing passive-aggressive remarks. Lisa would only come over on Saturday afternoons when her husband was at work. Of course, Mike never showed any interest in Lisa. But Lisa, on the other hand, would deliberately bring faded love letters from their elementary school days and try to one-up me. Hey, look at this! I found a love letter from Mike when I was cleaning my room! Sometimes she would laugh insincerely, pretending to be apologetic. Mike and I have a bond stronger than being related by blood or even being a couple. Sorry if this bothers you. We actually had a mutual affection for each other once, you know. You tore us apart, though. If I tried to argue with her, she would look down on me like this. But I get asked out a lot, so I was quickly snatched away by another guy. I don't care, but poor Mike, right? Oops. Did I say something wrong? Mike, without reprimanding Lisa's behavior, nostalgically empathized with her, and they would laugh together. It's fine. Karen understands us well. That was his catchphrase. Of course, I had no intention of accepting their relationship. I've protested to Mike many times, but every time he would deflect my points like this. As a wife, you should be more relaxed. Don't you trust me? It's sad that you feel like that. being a married couple and all. In the end, it always results in a tense atmosphere and the conversation ends. I was starting to wonder if I could continue to believe in Mike. As autumn approached and the holiday season began, Lisa uttered something outrageous. "Hey, let's go on a 2-day, 1-night hot spring trip to a popular fall foliage spot. Just the three of us." I couldn't believe my ears. A trip together? The three of us? But Mike, true to form, was all for it. "Sounds fun! I'll make the reservation." As Mike reached for his cell phone, Lisa stopped him. "No need! I figured you'd agree, so I already made the reservation. I can't wait!" She had taken the initiative to book the trip on a weekend when both Mike and I were off work. "Wait a minute, this is all so sudden." I hurriedly tried to stop it. "Lisa, does your husband approve? And isn't it inappropriate to go on a trip with Mike, even if he is a childhood friend?" In response to my cautioning, Lisa nonchalantly replied, "It's okay, if Karen is there too." From her answer, I inferred that her husband was probably not pleased with the idea, and understandably so. Even though I'm around, she visits her male childhood friend's house almost every week, let alone an overnight trip. He probably wouldn't easily approve. That night, I tried to convince Mike to cancel the trip, but I was met with, "It's too late now. We'd have to pay a cancellation fee." "Nothing will happen. Don't worry, as usual." I was talked into it, and the day of the trip arrived. "Sorry for the wait! Let's get going, Karen!" Upon spotting us, Lisa rushed over with an elated expression. Strangely, during the trip, Lisa didn't try to overshadow me or make suggestive remarks, even once. On the contrary, she was overly friendly, choosing souvenirs with me, taking photos together. Even my husband seemed happy, not having to deal with my irritations. I was a bit let down, as I had assumed that Lisa would link arms with Mike and behave like a couple during the trip. It seemed like my worries were for naught. In this way, we spent the day in harmony. As we were headed to the pre-booked Hot Spring Inn for 3, Lisa suddenly turned towards me. "I'm sorry! It turns out I couldn't book the lodging properly, so Mike and I are in Building 1, while you, Karen, ended up in Building 2. Lisa apologized with her hands folded, and Mike, looking surprised, opened his mouth. "But we're not sharing a room, right? Mike and Lisa? Then, isn't that fine?" He easily agreed that it was fine. "Aw, Mike, you're getting your hopes up weirdly. Of course we're in separate rooms. Separate rooms!" Lisa, who was loudly explaining in an almost high-pitched voice, and Mike, who was laughing without any sense of urgency. The problem wasn't about being in separate rooms, but that they had registered as a pair without explaining anything to us. It ruined the fun mood that had been there until now, and I, Karen, frowned and raised an objection. "Hold on a second. Even if you guys are childhood friends, that's just too much. Can't we change the room?" Then Lisa shook her head and continued to explain with a dejected face. "Due to identity verification, we can't cancel it now. I promise nothing's going on with Mike, so don't worry, okay?" To my stunned silence, Mike added fuel to the fire. "I've been thinking about this for a while, but can't you stop being jealous of Lisa?" "Jealous? I'm not—" "I hate that about you, Karen. It's a hassle for both Lisa and me." At his words, Lisa smirked as if she was victorious. As we passed each other, Lisa whispered in my ear, "I'm sorry to leave you all alone. I'm going to have a fun night with Mike, even on your behalf." They left me and strutted off to the inn. I took out my secret weapon hidden in my pocket and took a picture of their backs. I won't forgive them. I'll make them pay. The next morning, at the station where I interacted with them, Lisa was standing in shock with her eyes wide open. Why are you here?" Standing in front of her was Lisa's husband. His face was filled with anger, and he was quietly glaring at his wife. "Karen told me where you were. Seems like you're having a lot of fun." I stepped forward in front of Lisa's husband, deeply bowed my head. "Thank you for coming all this way today. I sincerely apologize for my husband's actions this time." With fake tears, I held a handkerchief to my eyes. Upon seeing this, he urged me to raise my head. No, it's ultimately my responsibility. Lisa, my wife, is the one at fault. I will divorce her. I will definitely pay you for your troubles. Divorce? What on earth are you talking about? Lisa turned pale as her husband, his veins bulging in anger, berated her. I thought it would be okay if we all went on a trip together, including Karen. But it seems I was wrong. I can't continue with you. We're getting a divorce. Hold on a minute. There must be some mistake. Hear me out. As if to interrupt Lisa's words, I chimed in, matching the rhythm. Me too. Through this incident, I have been able to unveil my husband's true nature. I am also filing for divorce. At that moment, my husband opened his mouth wide and looked at us. What? Divorce? We haven't done anything wrong. At his words, Lisa also started to raise her voice in defense. No, that's right. It's just Karen's misunderstanding. We've been separate the entire time. There's nothing going on between him and me. Lisa quickly tried to link arms with her husband. However, he immediately shook it off and slowly took out his cell phone. It's no use trying to hide it. Can you say the same thing in front of these photos and recordings? He played the recording in front of everyone. I'm sorry for leaving you alone, Karen. I'll spend a fun night with Mike, including your part. Haha. What came from the cell phone was unmistakably Lisa's voice. Lisa's voice, which I had secretly recorded when she whispered in my ear. Mike was astounded by the recording and started yelling at Lisa. Lisa! You said this to Karen? I interrupted Mike's yelling and showed a different piece of evidence. Two people walking arm in arm towards a hotel in a town under the twilight. Anyone who saw it wouldn't hesitate to think these two are having an affair. A stitch in time saves 9. From the beginning, I had not trusted Lisa and had preserved evidence in crucial scenes. Anyway, I had set a condition before this trip. That was, if Mike didn't protect me from Lisa, we would definitely get a divorce this time. What they did was not strictly an affair. It may have been mean to collect evidence that hinted at an affair and send it to Lisa's husband. But I, too, have been constantly undermined by Lisa. There must be something during a trip with 3 people. Then I'll have to take measures as well. I thought this was the only chance to have her husband intervene and punish Lisa. Soon, Mike started to make excuses in an agitated manner. Karen, it's a misunderstanding. We were just heading to the inn together. Shut up. How many times do you think I've warned you about Lisa? I recalled how happily he had welcomed Lisa into our home, how he had repeatedly clashed with me for not welcoming her, how he had accepted staying in the same inn as Lisa without objection, and how he had brushed off my feelings as jealousy. As I started to throw all my piled-up resentments at Mike, he seemed to have realized that he was in the wrong. Without caring about the surroundings, he prostrated himself on the spot. I'm sorry. I'll stop seeing Lisa. But please, don't divorce me. Surprised by his sudden behavior, I listened to Mike continue. I don't love Lisa or anything like that anymore. She's just a friend. His words seemed to have shocked her. Even if her husband divorced her, she could eventually get together with Mike. Maybe that's what Lisa was thinking. After all, she was a housewife, and also a lady from a slightly good family, though she didn't have any work experience. She probably figured that if she lost her current husband, Mike was the only one left who seemed likely to marry her. That's why she was weighing her husband Mike against her as insurance. I understand what you're saying. At my words, Mike lifted his head and showed a bright expression. But regardless of whether or not you've cheated, I'm going to divorce you. I just can't stand your attitude. It's the worst. But, Karen, that's harsh. Who's the harsh one here? I found myself shouting. Mike, you fell right into Lisa's scheme. You intended to ostracize me from the start and stay with you in the same inn. I would have forgiven you if you had rejected her, but instead, you sided with Lisa. Have you ever considered how I felt being left alone during the trip? I'm sorry, Karen. I'm really sorry. He seemed deeply affected by my stern approach. Mike slumped down, head hanging low. Then, why did it have to turn out this way? Lisa began to cry, sitting on the road. It's a misunderstanding. Mike and I are like siblings. It's all because of Karen's jealousy. Jealousy? Finding her words ridiculous, I glared at Lisa in a provocative way. Who's been behaving in a way that stokes jealousy all this while? The moment Mike was taken from you, you started approaching him. Despite being a married woman, your behavior is low. But you just want to be fawned over by various men. You were upset when Mike's affections, which were once directed towards you, turned towards me. It's because of your behavior that your husband is fed up with you. Reflect on your actions, you trashy woman. Ugh, that's harsh. Crying won't help. After all, I'm a woman. Maybe you should ask your beloved Mike for help. Bye, Mike. See you. I got into Lisa's husband's car and went home, leaving the two behind. I had originally taken the train to the trip. They can go anywhere together for all I care. Lisa's breakdown looked pathetic, but I finally felt relieved. It seems that my personality is not as good as I thought. After returning home, I filled out the divorce papers, placed them on the table, and went back to my parents' house. I ignored all the incoming calls and emails from Mike. It seems that Lisa happily got divorced. I heard that Lisa and Mike were blaming each other for the divorce, and their friendship had collapsed. Since I've cut off all contact, I'm not sure what happened to them. As for me, I switched to working from home, and now I'm working comfortably without anyone bothering me. I'd rather not get married for a while, especially to a man with a childhood female friend.